Ouais, non, 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 ils sont là, ils sont en train de filmer. Limite. Tu vois là, c'est ça. C'est ça ce qu'on est en train de dire là. Ils sont en train de nous attaquer, puis il n'y a personne qui réagit.
So Sheila, explain what we just saw there.
Okay, so we see somebody trying to get in between the peace and love counter protesters and Alexa, who is standing with the parents, and Guillaume is there too. And the one man says, "Hey, don't touch the women." The man with his arms out says, "Don't touch the women."
Yep.
And then the guy behind him reaches out and cracks Guillaume's camera. And you can see Guillaume cleaning his lens because somebody has treated his camera to a little quick blast of Rust-Oleum.
Isn't it amazing? We don't see that kind of those kind of tactics rather on the other side, Sheila. I didn't see anyone at Toronto, at least, trying to throw haymakers, bringing out spray paint cans. How odd. And again, I don't mean to be repetitive, but it's the counter demonstrators that call themselves the Love Trumps Hate community. Nothing could be further from the truth. I hope we follow up with the police, although given the Montreal Police Service is the worst in Canada, and considering Calgary is part of Canada, that's saying something, folks. But that's clearly assault captured on camera. I can tell you with me, I did give a tip of the hat to the Toronto Police Service for their role, except for one. At one point at the counter demonstration, Sheila, I was trying to interview someone, and this person, oh, and by the way, this was another observation. I've never seen so many face diapers out in public this late in 2023 as with the counter demonstrators. It's so funny that they were all wearing hats, sunglasses, face diapers, so that you could barely identify them. But he was, putting an air horn in my ear and pressing the button. And I'm telling you, Sheila, that is a form of assault. That is super loud. It's headache inducing. And there was an officer maybe 9-10 feet away. And I said, "Officer, come on. You see, this was on the third earshot that I received." I said, "Come on, can you do something about this?" And he just shrugged. And I know the philosophy, it's, well, I'm deep in enemy territory. We'll turn a blind eye to lawlessness because for us to go in and arrest this guy, the other spirit unicorns will go uber hysterical. That's not good law enforcement. That's garbage. And nobody, whether it's a demonstrator or a member of the media that these people don't like, should have to endure that.
Yeah, you know what? Let's try to keep our talking to a minimum, and let's get through some of these, like the bad behavior of the other side. Because David, I just want to tell you, you came up in trial today. Ezra's on trial right now for writing his book, The Libranos, and your little cheeky tongue-in-cheek comment about regime change came up in court. So we'll get to that. Like the outrageousness in this country never takes a day off. It's the hardest working thing in the country is tyranny, because Ezra right now is on trial for writing a book critical of Justin Trudeau and publishing it when a book critical of Justin Trudeau would sell during the election period. Like he is in trouble. He wrote an illegal book, if you ask the regime that David Menzies wanted changed.
Yeah,
but let's get
Sheila, what was it? 22 other books were written that year. What was it there? Oh, that's right. They were all pro-Trudeau books. So nothing to see here. You can publish those during an election
24 other books. But we'll go to that in a second. Let's finish it. Let's button up our coverage of the 1 million March for Children. And we'll go to just some of the bad behavior. And then you'll see all the good behavior in our reports from cities all across the country. You'll see protesters, parents, moms, dads, grandmas telling you exactly why they're there and why they're fighting for their kids. But let's talk about the bad guys for a second. So we've got a video from Lincoln, if you want to dig this up. And this is from Ottawa. Counter demonstrator at the Million March for Children blocks Kean Simone and Lincoln from walking down the street. and tries to knock Lincoln's camera out of his hands. Let's roll that one.
Is this your friend?
No, you don't want to.
Is
People
this your
don't want their
friend?
pictures taken. I don't know.
Get the f*** out of here. Oh, you little... What the f***?
You don't need to
Get out of here. What the f***?
You don't need to
Get out of here.
If Lincoln were on the left, there would be a public inquiry for that violence committed against him.
Yep. Oh, yeah. You're so right. And we know how that public inquiry would go too. But isn't it amazing how our so-called colleagues in the media, when any of this ever happens, I mean, Sheila, you've been punched in the face by a fake feminist. I've had
You've been
numerous
assaulted over again, and over again.
And the worst one being by Blackface's personal thug security guards. And not a peep. Oh, and in the case of David Aiken lying about the assault, saying I was being charged, there was never a charge. That was just garden variety thuggery. But you're so right. When it happens to us, nothing to see here. If Rachel Gilmore, the unemployed journalist, has a mean tweet sent out about her, oh my God in heaven, it's the end of humanity. The double standard is so gross. I just don't have words for it anymore, Sheila.
Yeah, a day that goes by on the internet that I don't get called the C word is an abnormal and unusual day. But if she gets that, she has to go to, I don't know, to get a therapy Starbucks sugary drink so she can make it through the day. Let's keep going. Bad behavior again. This one from K2, Kian Simone. He issues a language warning. So take that for what you will. Ottawa bystander shouts at kids. Oh God, she looks exactly how I thought she'd look. She shouts at kids participating in the pro-parents protest. She says, "Mama's boy still sucking on the titty." What a vulgar, gross lady. Like just berating kids who don't want to hear about their teacher's sex life. Really, that's what this comes down to. But anyways, let's roll the good behavior from the bad guys.
No. She's right. She's right.
I'm telling you, oh, Mama's boy, still sucking on the city. Mommy, can I have money? Fuck you, cunt.
She's yelling at kids. Like she's yelling at kids. What a hero this lady is. I will be amazed if I find out that she's not a public school teacher.
Oh, you know what? And will be fully protected and probably even honored for taking such a brave, courageous stance. But good Lord, can you imagine waking up to that every morning? I mean, oh, Juliet, wherefore art thou?
I'm no prize, but I'm not yelling at kids on the street.
Oh,
let's go to Hamilton.
Yes.
Efron Monsanto. Like, look, this is how busy we were yesterday. Our Efron, who is in charge of all of our video production on the other side, he's the Sheila of the videos, and he was out in the field working because we just wanted to make sure we did this movement justice, because you can't trust the mainstream media. So he's got far left counter protesters screaming at a Hamilton police officer for creating a police line between them and the 1 million March for Children. So this cop says, okay, we're going to do what we are here to do, and that is keep the peace and make sure that everybody is of good behavior. Although I think that was a pretty tall order yesterday with some of these guys. Now, God, naturally, he's wearing a mask. And anyways, he's yelling at a cop. And these are the people, by the way, that the left support in this country. So the institutional left, the Liberals, the NDP, the City of Toronto, the mayors, the teachers, unions, the education system. These are the people that they are going to bat for. Well done, guys. Watch this.
Right? Do you want the support folks to be able to leave peacefully, or do you want to fucking escalate? That shit's on you. You know what? You want to be a fucking cunt? Be a fucking cunt. We've opened up a lane so people could leave safely. You want to be fucking rude? Go fuck yourself.
I don't know why you're starting with swearing at me.
Doesn't matter. It's okay.
Funny, I thought they're promoting love.
You know, Sheila, I really think that if you have to default to profanity and if you have to default to personal insults to make your point, well, really, you don't have a point, do you?
Yeah. Yeah. And, and if you don't have a point, why not lie about it, as is the case with Vice? So Vice News yesterday, failing Vice News. So this is exactly the reason we had journalists out everywhere across the country, in Ottawa, in Regina, where it was 2,000 to literally a minivan's worth of activists. I called them on the other side. Parents outnumbered the other side over and over again. Now, the other side is outsized in their bad behavior, so they get a lot of attention, but the peaceful marchers dwarfed the union activists, even though the union activists are well-funded, well-organized. They're having Zoom organization calls, and they've got the backing of the Liberals and the mainstream media operating as their funders, but also as their press secretaries. The parents are completely organic by and large. But Vice News says, anti-trans groups staged protests across 77 Canadian cities. That should be the headline. Parents' rights demonstrators stage nationwide protests in 77 Canadian cities. That's enormous for a simultaneous Canadian protest. Anyways, they say instead they were largely outnumbered in the thousands by trans rights activists.
That's outrageous.
Really? What a bunch of BS. You just told me not to use profanity to make my point, but that's absolute BS. Anyway.
And it says anti-trans protester flees after being surrounded by trans rights activists. Well, yeah, if you're being surrounded by people who are hysterical and mentally unhinged and might even be packing a weapon or two, maybe fleeing is a good idea, Sheila.
Who thinks this is a good image to promote the other side? This shows bullying and intimidation and threats. Like,
good
this
point.
is a mob surrounds you, and then the left says, oh, look at what a bunch of heroes we are. 50 of us intimidated this lone peaceful man for disagreeing with us in the public square. How do they think this image helps them? Are they that far gone? I guess they are.
They are, because you referenced it earlier, Sheila. What you hear on campus by the loony left these days is that phrase you said, punch a Nazi. Now, Nazi in their definition, that doesn't mean somebody hell-bent on world conquest, somebody trying to carry out a genocide. That means somebody who has a differing opinion. And instead of having a debate like we used to in the good old days, you use physical violence. You are entitled to throw a haymaker because you've been offended by somebody having a contrarian opinion. That's where we are. So based on that, Sheila, I can fully see why Vice is jumping up and down in glee over that image. Hey folks, that was a clip from the daily live stream I co-hosted Monday to Thursday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Alberta team takes over on Friday. Please tune in. And by the way, we want to hear your 2 cents worth. If you're able to make a minimal $5 donation, we will read your chat on the air live. Thank you.
Justin Trudeau's new censorship law, Bill C-18. It's a shakedown and a desperate attempt to keep the mainstream media afloat. Many have already lost their ability to access our Facebook and Instagram pages. The blackout will soon affect every user in Canada. We've partnered with Private Internet Access, a VPN provider dedicated to safeguarding digital privacy. For just $2 a month, you can maintain your access to our content across all your devices at piavpn.com/rebelnews.